This is a simulation of a laparotomy and closure of a perforated duodenal ulcer. The model comprises the usual layers of the abdominal wall with an outer pink skin layer, allowing you to drop onto a yellow fat layer, the subcutaneous plane. This is incised down the midline, dropping us onto the linea alba. The linea alba is incised, and if you stay within the midline, you drop straight into the abdominal cavity. If you do migrate laterally, you will encounter muscle layers. With retraction, this allows us visualization of what is clearly a duodenal ulcer in the first part of the duodenum, and we've also isolated a tongue of omentum which we're going to use to close this perforated ulcer with a patch. In this simulation, we're not closing the ulcer directly with sutures, but we're applying 4 sutures across the ulcer, which we're then going to use to snug down the omental tongue to close the ulcer. I'm using a monofilament absorbable suture. In this case, it's a 3/0 PDS, and we're using 4 full lengths, which we place across the ulcer, starting at the top, so there's overlap into healthy tissue. 2 sutures are applied across the main body of the ulcer, and then a 4th final suture is placed below the ulcer, again within normal tissue. Clips are applied to either ends of the suture material so that the omental tongue can then be laid across the ulcer with the sutures on either side, which can be tied across it. The first suture, which was applied at the top of the ulcer, has its needle left on. The needles are removed from the other sutures and clips applied to the ends of the suture material only. Once this has been done, the healthy tongue of omentum is then laid across the ulcer. The first suture, which has the needle still intact, is then used to catch the tip of the tongue of omentum with a couple of bites, and then the stitch is snugged down. This means that the omentum is secured with this suture and will not slip out of the repair. The sutures are tied snugly but not too tightly. We don't want to render the tongue of omentum ischemic, so they need to be snug so that the ulcer is closed but the tissue is not compromised. Once the first suture is tied, the next 3 are then secured in the same way. Snug down, not under too much tension, and this should complete the repair of the ulcer. After the patch of omentum is applied and secured, try to avoid manipulating it to check it, because all of the manipulation can disrupt it and actually cause damage to the repair. If the sutures are applied appropriately, it should be secure. The mainstay of treatment after this is wash out, cleaning the abdominal cavity prior to closure.